Greetings, invaders. My name is ka.lyx. If you don't already know that, then you should subscribe.
Today!
Anyways, as many of you know, it's been 22 years since I landed on this planet and started my experiment that I like to call human life on planet Earth. And today, I thought I would share the things that I've learned on my most long-term experiment. I thought it'd be cute to break this down into 21 statements just so that it could be a little bit more digestible as I hold your hand while we go through this information. For the most part, these are just general statements that can apply regardless of gender identity, race, or even age, but we're going to put emphasis on for the most part. These aren't necessarily profound statements that I'm making today, but as I've applied them to my life, they've made the struggles of human existence a little bit easier in the areas that are in my control. I won't dwell on any of these topics very long because there's 21 of them. However, there will be videos diving into these topics and related topics in depth, but for today, we'll just focus on these small statements. Let's get straight into it. Number 1, keep God in your life. First and foremost, a connection with the Most High Power will take you further than anything you think you can do in your own power. The belief that there's something bigger than you with an expansive understanding of all things humbles you enough to really grow into the purpose that was already predestined for you. He's working with you in the grand scheme of what life is. It's just up to you to follow what he has to say. Yes, there will be trials. No, not every day will feel like rainbows and sunshine, but that doesn't mean there isn't purpose. And there's so much more power in seeing life through God's lens than seeing it through your own. Your spirit is the core of your being. It strengthens your mental fortitude. It builds your emotional intelligence, and it also strengthens your morality so that you can reach goals in a way that you never thought you could before. Always feed your spirit. No reaches of success can fill the void of a starved soul. 2, misery loves company. I know that sounds like a cliche, but I don't think we give cliches enough credit for their depth. Some people struggle to find happiness even if it doesn't look like they're outwardly struggling, and they think joy to be something that's only had by a certain group of people. These people will find any rhyme or reason to try to rain on your parade when things are going your way, to plant seeds in your mind, to bring chaos to your opportunities. At first, it can be a really subtle approach, like creeping in silently, but they'll start to do it blatantly over time, and others will actually just try to bring your morale to the same level of hells that theirs has already started in. When someone never has anything positive to say about other people or about themselves or their own lives, just avoid them at all costs. Misery is like quicksand, and the longer you stay in the quicksand, though it seems normal at first, it slowly starts to suffocate your will and ambition. So just turn away from the quicksand. This brings me to my next topic. 3, you don't have to be everybody's cup of tea. To be liked by everybody will eventually make you hate yourself. Just remember that there's no one on this planet that you're meant to please other than yourself and God. People will always find a rhyme or reason not to like you. Remember, we're living in the same world that crucified a perfect man. Being a people pleaser is probably one of the most self-destructive traits to have other than abusive traits, because it puts you in the mindset that all people do is take advantage of you, placing them at fault for the things that you've allowed to happen to you time and time again. Now, this isn't to say take accountability for what other people have done in your life against your will. It's to say take accountability for the behaviors that you've allowed time and time again, that you've swept under the rug in order to maintain a relationship. Have firm boundaries in all relationships and be confident within them, because a relationship without boundaries is a disservice to self. Probably my favorite topic and the next topic is 4, don't focus on love. Focus on growth. It's inescapable as a human being to crave love and companionship. That's just how we're wired. But there's a time and a place for everything. For young people still becoming themselves, let's take time to actually become the person you would want someone to fall in love with. Take time figuring out where you want to go and how you're going to get there, and if a partner falls into that journey or not. Love will visit you at many checkpoints in your journey, but it takes a high level of self-awareness to understand where you are and where you want to be, and if someone fits in with you there. As people, we have a habit of falling in love with someone's potential rather than their reality, and we have a habit to want to aid in that growth while ignoring our own. But the reality of life is, growth is usually something you have to do by yourself. Your mannerisms can change, your attitudes, even your appearance can change. And that can be a difficult metamorphosis to go through with a partner, because we are attached to the reality our partner already lives in and who we are within them. So it makes it more rigid in trying to grow. While we're young, let's remember that as you're constantly growing and evolving into a proper adult, that the people around you are too. That isn't to say that you can't get in a relationship or don't be in one, but it's a lot easier to grow and flourish unapologetically when you aren't tied to a reality that somebody's created for you and you can be whatever you want to be. This ties into my next point, 5. You have to learn yourself and love yourself before you can love anybody else. To understand yourself is pivotal to growth. And if you've been here long enough and watched my videos all the way to the end, you know I like to put a RuPaul quote at the end of my videos that says, honey, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? When you look in the mirror, can you say to the person looking back at you, I love you, and whoever you become, I'm gonna love them too. Growing up, there's a lot of things that we doubt about ourselves because we simply don't know who we are. Spend time with yourself, gain new experiences, go places you've never been. Just experiment with what God has to offer you. Learn your likes and your dislikes to the point where you can actually communicate them. The more you learn about yourself, the easier it is to grow into the person you love the most. Self-discovery is the portal to self-love, which is the foundation for any relationship you're gonna have. Think of your love like a watering can, and it waters your self-image like a garden. When you go out and you water others' gardens, your flowers tend to wither away. Water your own garden and wait until it's blooming and flourishing before you step out and water others. 6. Learn to be self-aware. That's how you become aware of others. People are very complex. That means you are very complex. Start reflecting on times where you felt most out of control, whether it been a time of rage, immense happiness, or overwhelming sadness. Can you name why you felt that way? Can you clearly verbalize why you felt so intensely? Practicing placing reason behind all emotions, not just negative ones, teaches you how to recognize the pattern of emotions that comes with the feeling. Once you can acknowledge how something has made you feel, you can begin to overcome it, you can talk it out, or in positive cases, you can harness it. Once you master this within yourself, you'll be able to apply it to your reactions to others. Ever since I was a kid, my dad always told me, you're like a duck to water. Everything just washes off of your back. And as I've aged, I've grown to be more duck-like. I tend to look at the actions and emotions of others through a lens of understanding that either something in their environment or me has triggered this response, or there are a buildup of things that I'm ignorant to that also triggered this response. Regardless, as long as there's no harm done to me, I can't blame somebody for being human. And for me, the conclusion that this lesson is always drawn is that everybody is entitled to their own reality, including me. And since I'm the only one in control of my own, I have to be aware of how my reactions are warping my perspective of myself and of others. 7. Life is too short to be spent in the company of haters. When I say haters, I'm not just referring to keyboard warriors and comment sections. I'm talking about those friends and family members who make snarky, mean jabs that we like to brush off as jokes. When people make slick comments about your appearance, your personality, your lifestyle, without your probing, it's usually not from a place of care. These toxic jokes can begin to slowly warp your self-image and change how you think of yourself, forcing you to fit yourself in a box that person is comfortable with you being in. Haters can come in unsuspecting friend-shaped boxes, and we won't know until we're opening up the box and there's a king cobra lunging at us, okay? It's real scary when you find out your friend isn't your friend. Take inventory on the words people say about you to you and to others, and be able to discern a low blow from constructive criticism. True support isn't harmful to your self-image. It just adds perspective and builds you up. But hate will tear you down, whether it's in your face or if it's trickling in. So when your mama says that's not your friend, you better believe her. 8. Be adaptable to your environment. Be willing to change. My favorite animal and first ever tattoo is the octopus. It's one of the most adaptable and resourceful animals to live in its environment. This is because octopi use the tools that they're blessed with and the tools in their environment in order to succeed in survival. In this same way, you should learn your strengths and weaknesses. Where do you excel? And how can you use that to ensure that your places that need development are covered while you go through life? This doesn't happen overnight. It takes scary leaps into unknown places, uncomfortable conversations, walking into the unknown. It takes experiencing the good and the bad of your environment. Whether through direct contact or by example, there's almost always something to learn about the habitats you step into on a daily basis. Experiences should mold your understanding of how to maneuver in times and places where you don't know exactly what to do. Be willing to become a student of your environment. Seek to know where you can use your God-given and environmentally provided tools until you can conquer and evolve into a new environment where you learn new habits and gain more experiences. 9. Focusing on your own evolution is not selfish. And I think our older siblings are going to have a hard time dealing with this one. As people progress, we have a habit of holding on to things and people that we grew up with as a version of ourselves that we're trying to move past. The problem with that is if you're constantly looking back, you miss the purpose that's in front of you. It's normal to not be as available as you used to be, not have the same reactions you used to, or not do the same things you see others around you are still doing. It can get harder to be around these things when you're constantly hearing stuff like, since when did you become blah, 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 or you've changed. It's the acknowledgement that you're not the same person that they thought they knew. To be frank, all the people in your inner circle should be constantly changing and evolving. I like to say to my friends, if somebody chooses to remain the same, they've already died. People who genuinely care about you will cheer on your evolution, and they will see the difference between who you were versus who you are trying to become. And they will love every version that you choose to be. You are free to change as many things about yourself as you want. This is your life. People who choose to leave or you leave were either not meant for that chapter of your life, or they were never meant to meet the person you become at the end of your evolution at all. 10. You will never grow where you're comfortable. I want you to imagine a teething baby who's crying at the top of her lungs because her teeth hurt, of course. But as she cries and tries to self-soothe, she eventually gets to the point where she has all of her teeth. Now, I want you to think about a part of yourself that needs development. How can you comfortably change this part of yourself? You can't. There's no way to grow in a space where you are completely comfortable or where you can supplement the muscle or completely avoid the workout entirely. How can you learn to cook if you don't go in the kitchen and burn something? How will you grow to work out in the gym if you're only watching gym videos? How will you go viral scrolling through other people's posts? The fear of being uncomfortable, of scrutiny, or of stepping into an unknown part of your purpose is the only way to start the marathon that is growth. For those who follow Christ, I will say this with all authority: your comfortability is what makes it easier to sin than to walk in the purpose that He's predestined you for. God didn't make you to stay the same. He made it so that you had the free will to choose whether to be comfortable and complacent or prosperous and glorious through hard work. And in YN terms, I'll say it like this: the longer you sit in shit, the more it starts to smell like roses. Get up and go wash your ass. 11. Find a mentor or an example and make their method your own. The world around us is full of many examples of good and bad ways to get to the same ending. There are very few things that don't have a formula. Unfortunately, we live in a time where a lot of people would rather sell how they got where they are in an ebook rather than teach it in a nurturing way. But fortunately, we also live in a time where there are infinite ways to acquire this information without paying anything at all. It's all about research and outreach. Whenever you find a hobby or a skill that you want to learn, I challenge you to search up content on it on every social media platform you have. Let the algorithm that you have made to entertain you turn into one that teaches you the vital tips to become a master at whatever it is you want to be good at. Follow people, influencers, businesses. Hell, if it's somebody's grandma who can do exactly what you want to do, take her method and make it your own. The more you practice something, the easier it is to find your own flow in it and make it your own, leveling yourself up. Utilize the tools of the modern world to your advantage. Research, reach out, ask questions. The way the answers may find you might surprise you. Y'all gonna hate me for this next one, I'm not gonna lie. 12. Reading is fundamental, okay? I know y'all don't like to pick up books, but y'all might need to pick up a book. The internet, while being a wonderful and powerful tool, is also extremely destructive to the human mind. Information is so accessible and abundant that as a society, we've grown more reliant on hearing information that goes in one ear and out of the other. Our brain craves these temporary spikes of dopamine that we get from content that's short enough, whether it's positive or negative. This craving raises our stress, it shortens our memory, and it lowers our patience for the lessons that creators try to submit in our heads in 15 seconds or less. Reading reverses this process completely. Books feed the mind in the best way, but the hardest part is practice and patience. Many of us think we don't have enough time to read, or we're just simply not good at it. Again, I'm going to be blunt with you. If you have 3 hours to doom scroll, you have 20 minutes to read. There is no way to get better at reading other than to read. And I'm not saying go from not reading a book since you were in 5th grade and it was green eggs and ham to busting out the 48 laws of power in a week. But you have to start somewhere. Since picking up books, I've become a better speaker and I'm able to explain myself in a more clear and concise way. I also have the patience and the comprehensive skills to learn for an extended period of time. Start with a book that has a topic that you like for just 20 minutes a day. At first, it'll feel like the longest 20 minutes of your life, but it's actually just your neurons reconnecting so that you can slow down your brain and heal it enough so that it can learn again. 13. You don't need a reason to be happy. Look at the times that we're in. Take a genuine look. All around the world, there are wars, devastation, starvation, inequality. Hell, I don't want to talk about what's going on in America right now. There are thousands of reasons to be in a bad mood. And the reason why people tend to stay upset is because we're given so many reasons to be upset, and it always seems to outweigh the joy. We release negativity into the world because we focus on the bad, giving it so much energy that it fuels more negative thinking. However, the smallest things can bring you joy when you shift your perspective. The most common feeling to have, the most randomly occurring feeling in humans is joy. Happiness is one of the first emotions listed when naming the 6 basic human emotions. It's literally the default setting. Practice acknowledging all things that make you happy, starting with just seeing your favorite color or eating your favorite snack. Giving positive energy to the negative in your life will start to neutralize the negativity and make it a lot smaller than it is. When has darkness ever overpowered the light? Life starts to look differently when you start to see the brighter side of every situation. You may be too old or too young for that joke, who knows? 14. Find a positive emotional outlet. What do you do when trying to shift your negative energy into positive energy isn't working? You release it. There are millions of different mediums that can help you release stress, anger, or sadness. If anybody is paying attention to me, mine is usually the gym. However, when that's not accessible, I draw, write, or I record videos. For that exact reason, lack of accessibility, you should have at least 3 habits that help you release energy and allow it to flow from you in either a way that benefits you or is of your creation. Whether it's painting, skating, running, hell, if it's running around the park screaming at the top of your lungs, just go do it. Don't fall into the worldly trap of vices like drugs, sex, and alcohol. These are all distractions that can only amplify the negativity, lowering productivity, self-esteem, or both. Those aren't necessarily hobbies, they're habits that like to keep you in the same spot so that you're constantly going back to them. They also prevent you from thinking clearly enough during hard times. Go buy a coloring book and some crayons, play Sudoku, or go walk with your grandma. Either way, find something to do that is positive. It doesn't matter what you do, just repurpose your energy so that it is either serving you, being created by you, but not destroying you. Here's a great habit to start with. 15. Keep a journal. I'm going to have a hard time talking about this shortly because I could talk about the benefits of journaling for eons. But there are times where our brains worry about the same things over and over again, like an anxious echo chamber. It focuses on the details of things, making us overthink about something that probably doesn't have the complexity we've applied to it. When that happens, grab a pencil and paper. Once you get out the words that are bouncing around your skull, the rest of the sentences will come to formation on the paper for you. Now, instead of carrying your what-if scenarios, they're there on the paper, out of your mind, and now you can go about your day and they can stay on that page. This doesn't only apply to overthinking, because writing can also help you manifest your ideas into action. The energy you use to write your intentions communicates directly with the Most High, and He hears your requests. Keeping a journal where you keep yourself, your conversations, your loves, your heartbreaks, your goals, disappointments, happiness, where you keep yourself will help you organize the chaos that is in your mind. Clearing your mind restores your brain's capacity to actually absorb information. And remember, it doesn't have to make sense. You're literally organizing chaos. These next 2 go together real bad. Real bad. 16. Failure is the main ingredient to growth. And 17, reframe denial into redirection. A lot of the time when we face denial, whether it be relational, educational, or occupational, we take it as defeat. The human mind, no matter how good of a sport you are, hates losing or the thought of being lesser. So much so that we fail to realize sometimes the reason why we're denied something is because we were never meant to experience it in the first place. When you sit and focus on the disappointment of denial, you miss out on the blessing that is redirection, removing you from the small box of your thinking and taking you somewhere beyond. This applies across all types of loss, but for a quick example, imagine you're a football player and you lost by one touchdown to your rival team. Are you going to sit there and let that loss define you? Or are you going to go back to practice, train harder so that the next time you see them, winning is already a part of your mindset? This is the most recent development in my 21 years because it takes a lot of mental warfare to redirect yourself from the disappointment that is denial. Always remember that there are other opportunities, and you insult not only God but yourself when you choose to limit yourself to your denials rather than seeing them as training periods to do better. Each time we're denied something, we can learn something to apply to our next attempt. Or we can use it in a whole different facet of life that we would have never experienced had we not been denied in the first place. Denial isn't to break you down. It's to fortify your discipline in trying to grow. 18. Go out and have fun. I think I've hammered home a lot of hard points, okay? So I think we're gonna go to something a little softer. No matter your age, but especially while you're young, the world is your oyster. I think COVID sat us all down and made us hermits, scared of interaction. And in living in that reality, we forgot what there truly is to do. I'm not only talking about partying and drinking, but if that's what you're into, do your thing, baby. But I'm talking about genuine good times. When was the last time you and your friend, family member, or your partner went out for a walk, went out to the park, did something fun outside of the house? Like I already said, our brains crave these temporary spikes of dopamine, so much so that we'd rather sit in our bed and watch people have fun outside from our screens than go experience it ourselves. Break the monotony of bed rotting with a partner, though I know how fun that is. Having real, long-lasting dopamine releases that are attached to actual memories of good times with your friends or family members will take you so much further and get you out of that bed. Not only does this boost your serotonin production, the long-term happiness chemical, but it makes you less likely to actually want to stay in your house, and it deepens your connection with the people that you call important. 19. Talk it out. Talk it out. This is a very layered topic, but for time's sake, we're just gonna shorten this into a few points. Life is really hard to go through alone. Emotions can get very confusing, they can get overwhelming, to the point where you don't really know how to convey what it is that's truly bothering you. Reach out to anybody. Depression and anxiety's strongest weapon is isolation. Silencing your sadness only sinks you and drowns out your potential. And this isn't to say go tell your business to the first ear willing to listen, but find a confidant, whether it be a mentor, family member, or friend. And if it's none, go find a therapist. A lot of battles cannot be fought in silence and seclusion. The next layer is actually vocalizing your goals. Just like writing them, speaking your intentions sets them in stone. Whether it's through prayer or positive self-talk, the words that you release into the atmosphere are the ones most likely to come true. And you don't have to say them to another person. I, like many other people, struggle to actually tell people my plans. And because of that, I've learned that I have a friend in me and I'm not afraid to just talk to myself. Give it a try. There's a few more layers to this topic, but for time's sake, we're going to cut it there. In the fine print of this lesson, watch what you say. The power of life and death is in the tongue. 20. Do routine self-checkup. As we age, most people don't realize the habits and traits they carry that should have been left at an age well in the past. This covers countless areas of life, but the main ones I want to cover that I think are the most important are ambition, attitude, and hygiene. We'll start real easy, okay? There is absolutely no reason that as either a growing adult or a grown adult, you should not know how to clean yourself if you have access to the necessary tools to do so. As children, we're reliant on our parents to teach us how to properly clean ourselves. Your body does change as you age and requires more, so hygiene didn't stop once mommy stopped telling you to brush your teeth twice a day. Again, wash your ass, please. Now, for the harder parts. Your attitude is probably the first thing people talk about in discussions of liking or disliking you. And I know our parents taught us what other people think don't matter, but this can actually take away some of your opportunities if you don't get it in check. If you're someone who prides himself on being nasty and mean to others, Get it together. Take it from me. As a retired mean girl, that's just not cute. You can be blunt and honest without being, for lack of better words, an asshole. A lot of attitude problems start at home, but in your house is where that should probably stay. Other people didn't do anything to you to deserve what someone at home deserves. Lastly, ambition. It is a necessary tool to do quite literally anything, but especially when it comes to actually reaching your goals. To harness it though, you have to release your inhibitions and get moving. If you find yourself creating goals and never reaching them, start to reflect on the actions you've taken to actually reach the finish line of your goals. If it's none, then you're not done. And if it's some but it's not working, go back to the drawing board and just restart. Self-check-ins can be exhausting and uncomfortable, but in order to evolve, you have to be willing to know what parts of you work with you and kill off the parts of you that are working against you. And finally, number 21. There is no one like you, so be you. God doesn't make duplicates. Even identical twins have their differences. You are unique and different. And people tend to avoid things that don't fit into their idea of what's normal. But there's a lot of power in just remaining you. Take advantage of the things that set you apart from the crowd. Regardless of judgment, at the end of the day, you're the one that has to lay in the bed and be happy with yourself. So make sure you are. When you dim your light to make other people comfortable, you shrink yourself into spaces that you were never meant to fit in the first place. You shouldn't spend days of your life worrying how to impress those around you. You should spend them worrying about how to impress yourself. People have a tendency to flock towards people who have self-confidence and who believe in themselves. So if you want to turn into somebody that a lot of people like, start turning into somebody that you actually like. And if they don't like you for being you, then they don't deserve to be around you. It's a lot harder to live as an imposter than it is to just be yourself. I personally think everybody watching this video is amazing for who they are, and I love you for who you are. So you should definitely start to do that yourself. Anyways, that's just the tip of the iceberg of things that I've picked up along my journey of these past 21 years. And as I step into my 22nd year, I pray that I continue to learn and grow through what I go through. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you like this style of video, and I will see you next time. Again, I love you so much. Your favorite alien, signing off.